Did you know that in 1969, humans first landed on the moon? It is crazy to think that they were able to send a spaceship to the moon with very little technology. The reason spaceships and rockets can fly into space is thanks to a special type of engineer. Meet Sara, a propulsion engineer. A propulsion engineer designs and tests propulsion systems. A propulsion system is a machine that produces a thrust, or a type of force, to move spaceships or rockets forward. Right now, Sara works on a team of propulsion engineers at NASA, the leading space organization in the United States. Her team is building a rocket to launch a satellite into outer space. A satellite is an object that orbits another object. NASA builds satellites to orbit Earth and collect information on things like weather patterns. For the rocket to successfully launch the satellite into space, Sara needs to understand Newton's laws of motion. Newton's first law of motion describes how an object acts when no force is acting on it. This means that until the rocket propulsion system is started, the rocket will not move. Also, once the rocket starts moving, it will not stop until a force acts upon it. Newton's second law of motion describes how mass, force, and acceleration are related. This is represented using the mathematical formula force equals mass times acceleration. Mass refers to the amount of matter an object has. What do you think has more mass? The balloon or the bowling ball? Pause the video and share your ideas. If you said the bowling ball, then you are correct. The bowling ball is heavier and has more mass than the balloon. Acceleration refers to the rate of change in speed of an object in a given time frame. Anytime you change your speed, you accelerate. If you go from walking to running, we say you accelerate. But if you go from running to walking, we say you decelerate. Going back to the rockets use fuel to accelerate the rocket upwards and into outer space. The more mass an object has, the more force it will take to accelerate it. This means that as the mass of the rocket increases, the amount of fuel needed to accelerate it will also increase. Sara's team uses the equation force equals mass times acceleration to determine how much fuel the rocket will need to carry. Sara's team knows that the mass of the rocket is 2,300,000 kilograms. To determine the force needed, you have to multiply the acceleration by the mass of an object. The larger the mass of the object, the greater the amount of force to reach the same acceleration. Today, Sara is working to build a rocket to send up a new satellite into outer space. In a rocket propulsion system, the force comes from the fuel. When the fuel burns in the engine, a force is created that pushes the rocket forward. To build a rocket, Sara first needs to know the mass of the satellite that another team of engineers built so that she can know how much fuel the rocket will need to carry it. The larger the satellite, the more fuel the rocket will need. Sara is reviewing the information she gathered on the mass of the rocket and the satellite and is worried that the engine she is planning on building will not be able to hold enough fuel to accelerate the mass of the satellite. This is a problem because if the rocket runs out of fuel, the rocket and satellite can fall back to Earth and break apart. Right now, the rocket's engine design is not big enough to hold all the fuel that is needed. Sara works on a new engine design for the rest of the day to try to solve the problem. She tries to make the engine bigger, but the extra mass from the larger engine means more fuel will be needed. This becomes a real challenge. Sara emails the rest of the team her problem with the engine design to get some help. Tomorrow, the entire team will work on the problem to find a solution. Now it's your turn to go on an adventure and be a propulsion engineer.